My name is Butisipe. Okay, got it. Greetings, colleagues, friends, SALGC members, friends of SALGC, and all those that will be listening or watching this session, a lecturer. We call them SALGC lectures. The intent about this SALGC lectures is to really enable and empower ourselves as per the pillar that drives this organization called SALGC. SALGC is a non-profiting organization that is intended to want to empower and rally behind men and young men in wanting to shape them to be better people in the society. We know for the fact how difficult these days men have seemed to be portrayed, and we would want to really change that kind of stereotype and work with our own people using the basics. We are not trying to be a organization that proclaim to say we can make all these changes by ourselves and we've got a silver bullet to change them. We are merely saying some of these things, they need us to go back to the basics. Going back to the basics is Mzi Mngoma, as a stress coach, he would have been taught at home how to be a man. He would have been taught at home how to be Mzi Mngoma. Mr. Sipe, as he is also, he would have been taught at home. These are the kind of things that we are talking to. If we really can go back to the basics, and those basics really, if you really want to look into those basics, you will really find some solution. And that is what SALGC is talking about. And one of our pillars is to empower. It's called mental liberation. It's our first pillar. And this session is done on that basis. We want to empower ourselves mentally so that we can be better people. I would not want to go much deeper. We've gotten Mzi Mngoma as our speaker. SALGC, if you would want to get more of our information as to who we are, please do log in or go into the website, www.salgc, South African Leadership Gentlemen's Club, .org.za. We've got a website, their portal, that encapsulate all what we are doing. It also encapsulates all the recordings of this kind of sessions, wherein if you are interested, you can actually come in there and listen to some speakers that we've had previously. And so we have today a privilege of Mzi Mngoma, a stretch coach. And Mzi Mngoma, if I were to quickly go through his bio, his profile. Mzi Mngoma, he was born in Soweto. He's 46 years old. He's married, a father of 7, 5 girls and 2 boys, an author of 2 books, You Deserve Better, Move Before You Die, and another one called Enough It's Enough. He has been an employee, or he has been an employee of health and wellness and people development for more than 20 years in both public and private sector. He is trained in human resources, HIV, EAP, IT, real estate, performance management, project management, SMME development, business management, leadership, youth development, mentoring, coaching, public speaking, strategic foresight. And these, he has been studying them in these various institutions such as Wits Tech, Wits University, UNISA, University of Pretoria, University of Johannesburg, Genesis Business School, Mill Park Business School, and other various accredited institutions. In 2020, he passed with distinction a course in a small business enrichment program at UNISA, or at the University of Johannesburg. He is a CETA accredited facilitator, assessor, moderator, and an employee wellness practitioner. Practitioner and life coach. He's a CETA accredited facilitator, assessor, moderator, and employee wellness practitioner. He's accredited trainer, speaker, business mentor with NDY, EAP, and employee wellness practitioner, life coach, relation coach, and stretch coach. He's the founder of foundation called Stress Coach, and you can find the information on under this website, www.stresscoach.co.za. He's the CEO of that foundation, strategic partner of YAB Business Solution, which also you can find on www.yabvettrading.co.za. He's passionate about personal development, as I know him to be, youth development, organization development, SME development, and entrepreneurship, and mental health and men empowerment. His mission in life to empower individuals and organizations to bring out the best in them. On radio, he has been a guest on radio. He has been a guest for Radio Pulpit, Josie FM, Mukhale FM, Sidibeng FM, Westside FM, Texteri Radio, Massive Metro, Alex FM, Power FM, Shawela FM, SAFM, More Live Radio, True FM. On TV, he has presented on Tim Mudisa's show on ENCA, SABC's Daily, Teta, One Gospel TV, Newsroom Africa, Global Conference TV, the Chat Room on SABC One, and UNEFA on Mzansi Magic. He conducts seminars, summits, camps, conference, workshops, and expos to unskilled people. He's a professional member and affiliate of Employee Assistance Professional Association of South Africa, which is EAPASA membership, with his registration number SA/G/E/1034 and Gauteng Skills Development Forum. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Ntate Mngoma, stress coach. Ntate Mngoma will be giving us a topic today that is precisely talking to what we earlier indicated to say, let us empower each other. Ntate Mngoma will be talking about how we should be on the lookout of stress. The topic says, don't let or don't allow stress to destroy your manhood. This is talking to us, gentlemen. I am taking that will be really empowered at the end of this session. We welcome you, Ntate Mngoma. We thank you, sir, for ever so much for allowing us to be encouraged, to be enlightened by your wisdom, by your self-giving. As you indicated in your profile, you want others to be better, so that all of us can be better in this community. I'm going to now let you, sir, to take over and then run with it. We will ask that maybe in preparation of Ntate Mngoma, let us, as we take note of what he's saying, maybe jot those questions that would be raised later on, so that we can then engage his session or his information that he would have given us. So I'm asking that let us hold those questions right up until the end, and then we can then take questions. However, I'll also let Ntate Mngoma to be the driver, so that if he feels that he needs to engage, such that we ask him questions, that we do that. But I'm just pointing out to say, let us just preserve that kind of rule as a standard. Ntate Mngoma, sir, the floor is yours. Thank you ever so much. We are listening. We are ears. We are excited. we really want to hear how we can better ourselves as men, and the tricks that we can use, or the learnings that we can use to be able to manage stress. Thank you ever so much, and take over, sir, and lead us forth. Thank you.
And Adesipe and the team in SALGC, we just want to say thank you so much, my leader. And there's no way that I can, begin to express my gratitude indeed for this opportunity that you have provided. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Baba. And please, as we start, I just want to remember Ntate Tlabakwe, as I just been told, he's not in a good space. Ntate, please, I pray for your speedy recovery, our leader and our founder, SALGC, one of the founding members. Ntate, thank you so much. And please, Opil and Ntate, you are in our prayers, and all of the best. And to you and your family as you are recovering, Ntate. Thank you so much. My leaders, I'm truly humbled indeed. The issue that we are discussing today, it's something that I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about the issue of stress, and as it is something that is killing a lot of men, as it is something that is really disturbing a lot of men, as it is something that is destabilizing families, as it is something that is causing men in particular to do crazy things. I mean, I'm talking seriously crazy stuff. There's no way that we can run away from the fact that we are the perpetrators of all these evils that our world is experiencing as we speak. I mean, the war that is happening out there, as you may know it, it's not perpetrated by women, but it is by men. And the men and, the women which are crying on a daily basis, it's the perpetrators are men. We are told that in every 37 seconds, a woman in South Africa is raped. Now, who are the perpetrators? It happens to be men. And ladies and gentlemen who are joining this platform today, everything that is bad, anything that is affecting people mentally, women, children, all right, the cause or the perpetrators happen to be men. And this is truly disturbing. And now as I sit down and analyze and I work with men, when I consult with them, when they come to our offices, when we connect online, we are discovering something that is very interesting, which is because we try to go deeper in terms of trying to find out ukuthi amadoda ahlushwa yini, Ntate Sipe, Ntate Nkosi, and everyone that is joining us. We're trying to find out what exactly is it that is making men to do these things, because surely you can't just sleep and the following day then, or same day, you commit these evils. All right, we are discovering something very fascinating, but not only fascinating, but something that is truly disturbing, which at the core of everything that is happening now with us as men, some of us are killing ourselves, and some, as you shall see this presentation, we are discovering which stress is then at the core of what is happening. Stress is at the core of the evil that some men are committing out there. But why stress? Why stress? Men are going through a lot. Men have got personal issues. Men have got the past that they've never dealt with from the time that they were young. I mean, I can speak for myself in that regard, just to put myself into the perspective to say, I happen to be a man right now. I mean, just next week, Wednesday, I'm turning 47. But witnessing and looking into my life, I have discovered that I have also have to go through a lot of stuff myself. And now because of the way in which I grew up, because of the manner in which I was able, to navigate through my painful life, my painful childhood, I mean, I've even written a book called Enough is Enough, because really I was tired. This is a book that was released 2 years ago. It's called Enough is Enough. It's available at www.stresscoach.co.za. Now, this is the book where I put my life out there, indicating what really transpired in my life as a teenager, as a young person, you know, witnessing my father, my biological father, hitting my mother, hitting my uncle and my grandmother. And I was 4 years old when I witnessed all the pain that this man and the abuse that he was committing at that particular time. I mean, I'm talking more than 40 years ago, where I saw this Zulu man called my father, who did a terrible thing indeed. And when I witnessed that, it lingered, it stayed with me for a very long time. How can a normal man do such a terrible thing to my families? I mean, and hitting my mother, hitting my stepfather, hitting my father, my mother, hitting my granny and my uncle. So bad that the only place of refuge that they had to run to was the toilet. In fact, the toilet saved my family members. Now, here is a man, you know, who was supposed to be a loving man, but now who happened to causing this abuse, the terrible situation, and many other things that my dad did. You know, him, for instance, that when he approached my mother, he never disclosed to Guti he had other wives. And my mother only discovered later over time, and this man that I'm in love with is also got other wives, other people, other women out there. And I mean, my mother was a teenage mother when she held me. I mean, I was only 17. She was only 17 when she held me. But now the terrible abuse that he suffered at the hands of this man was something unbelievable. But not only that, fast forward my life, I witnessed my father and my stepmother, my stepfather in particular, doing a loving man that he was, all right, but he had a problem. He was very abusive of my mother. Now, Leon to Leo, we grew up witnessing him, especially when he was drunk. He will beat and beat and beat my mother. And I mean, at the time, such that at the time when we were now beginning to grow up as teenagers, my brother and I, we began then to give him serious tongue lashing and say, but Baba Maqhubeka with what you are doing, indeed you are affecting us. And we are not going to tolerate a situation where you continue to hit and beat and abuse our mother, such that one time we threw him out really of the house and we said, man, please, we are tired. We can't take this any longer. I can, you know, talk about a lot of things, a lot of abuse that I have witnessed in my life, all right, as an individual. And eventually, as I was growing up, it also affected me because I became violent. I mean, as a child, I really was violent. There were moments, there were episodes of my life where Intombazana will hit and I will fight and I will do crazy things. I mean, growing up in a township where, as it were, I mean, fights and bullying was part of the things that we thought it was normal for us as boys to grow up being violent. So those are some of the things that I had witnessed growing up, even in my household. I think the worst thing that happened in my household was when, in one time, my mother was so tired of the beatings and the abuse, verbally and physically, from my stepdad, that she took a knife, and she took a knife, and she stabbed my stepdad. I mean, so bad. I mean, we saw the blood splashing out of that stepdad, and eventually he was rushed to hospital. And Bara could not take him, and now he was referred to another hospital. Now, it became so bad that after a few months, really, of that incident, because as she was stepping, she said, Nkatel, I'm tired. I cannot take this any longer. And many other stories of women out there that really, they were so tired of the abuse that they end up doing craziness, crazy stuff. And in the form of revenge, in the form of wanting to feel better, they ended up doing crazy things because of the men in their lives. Now, a lot of things are happening. I can go on and on. You also know of many stories that, and many episodes which are being committed by men. I mean, how do you explain that as a man, you can chop, you can seriously use as a hacksaw to chop someone that you think, or someone that you profess to love? Now, I can imagine what goes on in the mind of a man, that here is this woman lying down, whether the woman is chained or what, but you take a hacksaw and you cut this woman in pieces, like some of the stories that we normally will hear, like that recent incident that happened in the Eastern Cape. Now, chopping someone that you say you love, and I'm trying to figure it out, and now it happens to be a man who does that. How can you say to someone that you love as a man, you will hire a hitman, to kill your lover who is pregnant? How can you do that? This lady is pregnant and you kill them, you hire someone to commit that, and you hang them on a tree. How can you commit that as a man? Then surely something is not right in the mind of that man. Okay, like we are reading in the news. In other instances in KZN, I mean, we know of a story committed by another man as well, where this man, he had a fight with a woman, and then now for some reason, he hanged abantwana bakho, abathatha abantwana, all the 4 girls, and he hanged them, seriously hanging them. Now, and many, I mean, my wife had an ex, the ex-husband wanted to kill her with an ex. I mean, she wrote a book in that regard. Yesterday, we were launching her book where she chronicles, a life a painful life that she suffered at the hands of not just a man, not just a husband, but someone who happens to be a priest, like umfundisi, a reverend, who wanted to chop her head off, finishing my wife. Okay, and now, how do you explain that? Just 3 weeks back, we heard of a story of another minister who happens to be 65 years old. We've been reading this story where he also wanted to hang the wife. I mean, he's also a priest, he's also a pastor. Okay, now we can believe in me, I can spend the next 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours bringing to you, gentlemen in particular, stories that are being committed by men. And then now, in our quest to bring solution to men, we need to pinpoint these issues. We need to indicate. I mean, me, now for one, it's in the public domain that I nearly killed my ex-wife. I mean, we had a misgiving, we had a misunderstanding, and I was so angry, so bad and angry that I nearly killed her for real. I mean, I beat her so bad and I ran away, and my son tells me, police came and they really wanted to arrest me so bad. And only the grace of God really saved me and saved that lady. Yeah, but why didn't I walk away? Why didn't I do something better other than me having this thing that keeps on lingering in my mind to say, I nearly committed something, I nearly killed somebody else. Okay. Now I can count. I mean, just this week, something terrible happened. Last week, something. Today, a man committed someone. There's a woman that cried. There is a child that cried. Okay. I don't talk about the issue of the fact that some of us as men, we have committed bad things such as not supporting these women, supporting these children, and especially when we have the powers to do so. Okay, I'm not talking about instances where the woman does not allow you to be part of your children's life, but I'm just talking generally common occurrences of situations where men, we are doing terrible things to women and to children. Okay, but now at the core of it, when I analyze these matters together with my team, we are discovering that stress is at the core of all these things. Hence, today, we are really talking about this issue of stress. And we are saying that why is it possible really to deal with this stress as men? Because if we don't deal with these issues, believe me, your manhood, our manhood as men will be destroyed. Okay. How do we arrest this stress? How do we give a practical solution, if not several solutions to men to say, Buffett, whenever you're feeling the heat, these are some of the few things that you can be able to do. Okay. Now, that was a bit of a background that creates a foundation for us to be able to engage in this particular manner. And if I were to give instances and say, man, please just indicate right on the inbox and say, these are some of the instances that we also know of men committing bad things, evil in our world, in South Africa, in our townships, in the suburbs. And this thing is not only have anything to do with the race, because all races, we have men who are doing terrible things. Yesterday at the book launch that my wife and I had, we had stories, and now it's terrible. But now the big question is then, Mzi, why is stress important in you trying to bring some suggestions as to what can be done? Why stress in particular? Well, even before we go there, what exactly are you talking about? When you talk stress, what are you talking about? Well, in simple terms, we're talking a pressure that any man is feeling. Stress is a pressure. It's a situation that pushes you to act. Now, when you are feeling that pressure as a man, it makes you to do either positive, it leads you to do positive things and also to do, or sometimes to do negative things. It is a pressure that you are feeling as a man at any given time. And it's psychological, because when you feel that something is pressuring you, something that is pushing you to want to do something, it's what do you do when you are experiencing that kind of a pressure? Okay, especially the negative pressure. Stress is good. There's an element of stress that is good, especially when you feel that you are stressed because there's work that needs to be done, when you feel that there are deadlines that you need to meet, when you feel that there is something positive that you need to be doing, okay, preparing yourself for an adventure, preparing yourself, let's say you want to run a marathon, there's a level of stress that you will be feeling, but you will want to properly prepare yourself because you really don't want to fail. Now, that kind of a stress is good, but but over time, when you don't manage that, chances are you will experience this negative stress, where psychologists, they call it a distress situation, where you find celebrities, where you find men, great men, okay, where they will go to an extent of committing suicide, killing themselves. They feel worthless, they feel useless, they feel they have no reason to live. For whatever the reason of recent cases, such as Ntate Patrick Shai, where even all of us were grappling with an issue, with what exactly took his life. Why did he kill himself, for instance? A man that was talking to other men. I mean, this was an inspiration to many of us as Ubaba Wetu, as our brother, who used to encourage us, motivate us, and say, man, you can do better, you can do better. But suddenly, when it was his turn, then he did not manage to do that. You know, we woke up one day to the news that Ntate Patrick Shai is no longer there. Then the issue was, Kanti kanjani? How did it happen? What went wrong? Even namanje, we still don't have answers to that. Okay. Now, just a few weeks later, just immediately after Ntate Shai, now we hear of a 34-year-old young man, Yabonu Riki, a very successful young man, and whom we were expecting a lot. I mean, I used to love his music as well. And to say how now Naye is committed suicide. And then now you ask yourself, one thought, this issue of stress, this issue of amadoda happens to the people who are, you know, at a particular level of the society. But now these are prominent guys, these are prominent leaders in our society that are going through this. So we can go on and on and on. And if these issues are not being discussed, we'll continue to find cases of men, okay, continue to feel that killing themselves then will be the way to go. So these are some of the issues which we are grappling with as men, and then we're trying to find a reason why. And I mean, I want to submit to you, colleagues, friends, brothers, and Obaba, listening to me right now, to say at the core of all these things, really, it is stress. That kind of a pressure that we cannot handle, okay? And there are many reasons. One can ask, Mzi Mngoma kanjani? How do I really know I'm stressed? How do I really see what are some of the symptoms? What are some of the signs which are indicating, you know, I am going through a lot of stress? Please, I just want to give you some signs, because once as a man listening to me now, I begin then to identify with these signs that I'm gonna share with you, then you need help, you will need assistance, you will need, you can't, these signs cannot just happen. These are the signs which are indicative to you, but you know, you definitely will need to do something about them, okay? One of the signs, Oguti, you are stressed. It is when you feel anxious, when you feel there's that worry, you are always worried about something, okay? You are so anxious, you are not at peace, you cannot sleep well, okay? There is this lingering thoughts in your mind which are causing you to be worried. And sometimes that worry, it's unwarranted. You know, you are over worried, okay? Something bad might happen if you don't do this, or if you do this. So being anxious is one of the signs. Being afraid, of course, being scared, it's one of the signs. When suddenly usuya saba and watsaba, most of the time it's a sign that no, really you are going through a lot of stress. The issue of being aggressive, of being angry. Suddenly we know you to be a very cool, calm, and collected guy, but suddenly now you have this irritation about you. Then that is also another sign which indicates, you know, this man is going through a lot. There's no way that you can just sleep and wake up being angry and being irritated and being short-tempered. All right, so there's a reason why. So, but it is a sign that says you are going through a lot. You're going through some level of stress. Being sad sometimes, okay, you may not be angry, but you are sad. Suddenly, emotionally, you are not in a good space, okay? You are being sad, you're born, and there's this pain that you are feeling inside that you can't even begin to explain. So that is just but one of the signs. Being irritable, you are born, you are short-tempered, a touch is a move. You are born, suddenly you've been this good guy, but suddenly you are being irritable. Yabona kunezinto ezikwatisayo nje suddenly. So those are some of the signs that you need to really take care of, because these are the signs which are indicating that you are going through something. Okay, the issue of being frustrated as well. Sure, there's a lot of men who are listening to me right now who are really feeling a sense of frustration because things are not going the way you desire for them. But now once you begin then to be frustrated, these are the signs that really you are stressed. The issue of being depressed, now it is a higher level of stress once you begin to be depressed. Okay, depression then will also mean you are in this unstable emotional state, mental state, that is causing you to do crazy things. Okay, now these signs are some of the signs that you are experiencing, and eventually they will lead to some physical signs. Now, these are the physical signs that indicate indeed you are going through some stresses. The issues of headaches, one of the signs that indicates, I mean, you are not the person that always experience or complains about having headaches, but you are experiencing these headaches. Being nauseous, you're born as a man, and being nauseous, most of the time it's being experienced by women most of the time, but suddenly as a man you feel a sense of being nauseous, then you must know, but suddenly when you're experiencing these are the signs that we are stressed. The issue of indigestion, you cannot properly digest, is also another sign, physical symptoms or physical manifestation of stress. Okay, the issue of sweating, we are sweating a lot, I mean everywhere you are sweating. The issue of your heart, we call it palpitations, meaning there's this heartbeat every time you are experiencing this heartbeat and palpitation. Your heart is not at rest, it beats so fast and so bad. These are some of the signs. The issue of aches and pains, suddenly your body is feeling the pain in your body. No one hit you or you are not injured by anything, but these are some of the signs that indicates who to know you are. An issue of wanting to be all by yourself, you want to isolate yourself, you want to disengage, you don't want to be social, you feel like the world can open up, you can just get inside. Feeling suicidal also are some of the signs that are indicating or to know you are really going through a lot. And once you begin to experience that, as ART, please do something about them. Okay, the issue of being tearful, and becoming emotional, and it's one of the signs. The issue of you experiencing some sexual problems, where suddenly you don't get erection. You are healthy man, you are eating right, but you are so affected that your libido, all right, the sexual edge, you don't have that. Suddenly your manhood is affected such that you can't even perform sexually. So those are some of the signs that are indicating you are really going through that. Remember, sex is in the mind. When the mind is not clear, when the mind is disturbed, all right, it's a sign, is an indication of which you are really going through some levels of stress. Okay, and now some of us, some of men, when they are going through this, then they begin to drink a lot and to smoke a lot. You consume a lot of alcohol. In fact, if you wanted to see the weather in Joburg right now, in Joburg in particular, it's raining. And as it is raining, among pubs, in taverns, in lounges, you'll find a lot of men, but they are dancing, they are spending the little money that they have, they are born to be spending on alcohol. And when you sit down, you discover that this is a way that a man is trying to cope because they are going through some levels of stress. And alcohol and drugs. A lot of men are using drugs because they think drugs are a solution to this particular stress. Suddenly, when asikwazi out a grand, engaphuzi, engabhemi, that is into drugs, besides indaba yokuthi this can be used as a form of entertainment, but primarily it is because a man at a particular time is going through those different levels of stress. Ulcers, suddenly you must be careful. Once you start to have ulcers, you start having things which are not okay with you, physically, emotionally, and socially. Then, honestly speaking, emsebenzini, we know you to be this jolly person. You come to work, hey, sanibonani kunjani, but suddenly, you hate us. Suddenly, you act so cold towards us. But you may discover, it is a period in the life of a man that he's going through something. Okay. And suddenly you are quiet. We know you to be this vibrant, vibey, and a powerful man, but suddenly we find situation where indeed you are not in the good space. Now, those are the signs good to know you are going through a lot of stress as a man. All right. Right. Now, having said that, you may be a man listening to me right now, and you are experiencing these symptoms or these signs, then you must please do something about it. At stresscoach.co.za, we can be in a better position to assist you. We are professionals dealing with mental health issues. We can be able to assist you. Okay, we are doing this on a daily basis. We've got coaching sessions where, as a man, you come and you talk to us. Of course, because we are professionals and we charge a fee. We are not doing it for free, but we can be in a better position to assist you. Okay, but now the big question then will be, okay, Mzi, I've got the signs. Okay, Mzi, you have told us as men what are some of the things that we are doing which are bad, which are affecting ourselves, our spouses, our women, our children, our colleagues, our family members. But now, what are some of the causes, Mzi, of stress? All right. What is it? It's not one. And it will differ from a man to man. There are many triggers. There are many reasons why you are experiencing stress. Now, I'm just going to mention some few, but as we shall engage, you will see as we are unpacking it further, this talk, you may discover, Oguti, there are many other reasons. You also might have had your own reasons why you are stressed, okay? But at the top of the list, believe me, when I say top, and I really mean it, it is the issue of finances. Finances is the number one, is on top of the list of the reasons why a lot of men in particular are stressed, all right? You've got a lot of debt, and it can be also be done because of the number of reasons. I mean, our inability to pay the bills, our inability, of the increasing debt that we have, it's causing a lot of stress because the money that we have, it's so little that it cannot cover all the koloto. Now it becomes a really big issue to us. Now on top, if ungabuza amadoda amaningi right now, 99%, if not 99.9%, may discover it on top of the list. Really, it is the issue of finances. Finances, because of sometimes it's not our fault. I mean, you are working, then suddenly they decide, they are laying you off. You are being retrenched. And for that reason, they feel, you are redundant. We no longer need your services. Now, that then becomes another stress, but it's not your fault. You did not cause that situation. You were working, but they said, no, we are going to cut your salary. We are going to cut your working hours. Therefore, your salary will be affected. If you're earning 10,000 rand, now suddenly it's 5,000 or 7,000. It will affect you eventually. Now that causes a lot of stress to say, now how am I going to pay for my car? How am I going to pay for my house? How am I going to pay for my family? Now it becomes a real problem. Okay. Now on top of the list then it becomes. But another reason why we are stressed financially or finance is a reason for our stress is because some of the debts we are the causes of the stress. because we don't know how to properly manage our finances, it becomes then a really, really real problem to us, so and to you. And now for that reason, other than the one that I've just mentioned, but we are also the cause why we are in a financial state that we are at, because yes, Lord, we try to live a lifestyle that does not fit with our pocket, okay? Because someone is driving this car, because someone is staying in this particular suburb or so, then we try to match up the standard. For that reason, because we cannot keep up, we feel in the pressure. Remember, stress is pressure. Now, see us pressurized. Then for that reason, we find ourselves in a serious financial situations, and because we cannot manage our finances, and then we're causing stress then to ourselves, okay? So money or the finance is and the reason why, it is on top of the list why we are so stressed as men, okay? Now, another reason could be the death of a loved one, like someone that closest to you. I mean, COVID, Jens, it has taken away the people that we love, people that we adore so much. And now the death of a loved one, whether it is your spouse, whether it is your friend or family member, definitely even your colleague, can affect you. It can cause a stress because suddenly this person is out of your life. Therefore, you'll never in your life be in a better position to talk and communicate with that person. Therefore, it makes you to be stressed and you can't cope, you can't manage. And we also have sessions where we are empowering family members. I mean, there's a teacher in one of the schools in Cosmos City who came to me and said, Mzi, please, I'm not coping. I just lost my daughter, and she was only 15 doing grade 10, and I was expecting a lot from that. As a family, we are devastated. We have no idea what to do. So the death of a loved one indeed can become another challenge. Okay, can be your dad, it can be anyone else. So once you feel you cannot cope, please talk to someone. That's what we are saying in Stress Coach. Talk to someone. If the death of a loved one is affecting you, please talk to someone. Find someone to talk to. Okay, don't keep quiet because it can cause a lot of stress to you. Okay, the issue of a job loss, in the Bible, I hinted to it to say one of the reasons why we no longer have the money that we used to have is because we lose savings. Okay, job loss is one of the reasons why, we are stressed. Suddenly you are working, you are earning money, but now we are being laid off. Okay, someone decided because of circumstances to say, we don't want your services anymore, or we cannot afford you. What do you do? So job loss really to many men, yes, affect. Indoda engenayo imali, indoda that is unable to feed their families, and because of the issue of losing the jobs or losing your business, hey, it can be very serious and it can be detrimental to their well-being, and it can cause a lot of stress. Okay, the issue of a traumatic event, suddenly you are hijacked, suddenly someone break into your house, suddenly a bad event happens, unpredictable event happening to you, and it's so bad. And now some of men, they will stay in that situation forever because something bad has happened in their lives. Okay, and there's a sickness that you suddenly are experiencing as a man, and it's causing a lot of disease in your body. And for that reason, then it causes a lot of you to be stressed because you just cannot understand what land. So a traumatic event can also cause that. In fact, people in mental health, they call it a post-traumatic stress disorder, meaning here's a situation that you cannot just take out of your mind. It has happened, it's an event that happened, it is a terrible accident that you've been through. I mean, just about 2 weeks back, my father-in-law was involved. He's a bus driver now. He drives long distances from Johannesburg to Cape Town, all over the country. Now, it so happened as he was driving, then was involved in a car accident, a terrible car accident, accident. And now imafectile leyo. He's 61 this year, but now you can imagine what stresses that he might be going through as well. Okay, so an event can really cause a particular stress. I mean, he was driving to Kimberley, he did not see, suddenly a truck came towards him as he was driving. And then now you can imagine what happened. But we thank God that he's alive, but he's going through a lot of physio, a lot of situation. He was hospitalized. But you can imagine, Yabona, the fact that very soon he might be losing his job as a result of that accident or part of his body. So a traumatic event really can cause a lot of stress as well. The issue, problems at work, you know, some of us are being stressed because the situation in the workplace is not a cool situation, it's not a nice situation. You are fighting with your colleagues, you are fighting with your subordinates who are insubordinate, and you know, the situation is not right. There's so much pressure, there's so much demand in the workplace that you really feel you cannot cope. The people that are supposed to be reporting to you, they are not doing the proper work. Okay. Another one instance that I had yesterday when we were launching our books is a school in Johannesburg where a principal is abusing women sexually. I think the teacher who was there said, this principal, in fact, is in the news as well, but we're so privileged to have, you know, one of the teachers who said about 80% of the staff members, that principal slept with those people. But now the case is in the courts and it's terrible. So the situation also in the workplace can really make us to be so stressed that when you think of going to work, in fact, many of the people that are listening to me right now, you are in a state where it's so bad sometimes you just cannot manage in the workplace because of the pressure, because of things are not going the way you're supposed to. Some of you are so irritated, and many of you, in all honesty, as you're listening to me, you just hate going to work. Tomorrow it's a Monday. To many people, 95% of the people listening to me, they just hate. In fact, the weather is good, you just want to sleep. But more than anything else, it is the situation at work. It's just not sharp. It's not happening. You know, can you change the career? Can you change the work? Okay, because we also at Stress Coach, we also help Amadoda and women to, if you want to change, if you want to do better, if you want promotion, if you want a conducive environment. Okay, the workplace is also a bad situation that can cause a lot of stress. On Wednesday, we are running a workshop in a particular school where the school called us and said, Mzi, there's 50 of us. We are not coping. None of us, including me as the principal, we are not coping. So we shall be rendering a program, a 4-hour intense program where we are unpacking the issue of stress in the school, the stress that is being experienced by the educators, by people in administration, by people working in the gardens in the school, by the management, including the school governing body. So we've got a lot of interventions that we've been doing since the beginning of the year where schools are saying to us, we are not coping, help us. We are going to empower us, make us to work better, make us to manage the situation better, okay? So now that's the kind of interventions that we can do as well, because really in the workplace isn't as hamburger. Here's the worst. Now, this one is worse, what I'm just going to mention to you. You know, beside the fact that number one, it is the issue of finance, but next to finance, do you know, Uguti, the issue of relationships are the reason why a lot of us as men are stressed. You have this woman that you love, but suddenly she starts doing crazy things as well. She starts messing you up, or she starts messing around. And here is this lady that you've been with for all these years, and you want to build a life with them, but they are not in a position to reciprocate and give you back the love. Okay, as my daughter, you know, who are messing up. As we don't talk about men who are not properly handling their families and their affairs. But we're talking about an honest man, okay, that might be joining this session today, who says, I love my wife, I love this woman, but man, she's doing things, I'm not coping really. My relationship is just not in a better position, okay. I'm talking about a man now where, you know, you are being denied an access to your children, okay. It's a relationship issue. Yes, you were together with this woman, and now she's not really coming on board. She's not giving you the support that you need in terms of you reaching out to your children as well. Okay, now it's one of the issues as a corner. So relationships, all right, cheating, okay. Imagine finding your woman with another man in the car or kissing another. I mean, these are cases, real cases, which we're dealing with on a daily basis, where a man says, Mzi Mngoma, I feel like taking a gun, shooting this woman, shooting the boyfriend or that lover, and shooting myself and my children, and we end it all. Now, the issue of relationship, in all honesty, becomes then one of those issues that are causing a lot of stress. Remember, relationship, it's person to person, it's you and this particular person, okay? But also a relationship can mean also you and the family members. Say that some of the toxic family members that, in all honesty, if you can avoid them, please do that, because family members can cause a lot of strain in you, and they can cause a lot of stress. Kunabantu nje are making unnecessary demands in our lives as men, okay? They've got expectations, they've got issues that they say to us as men, such that we are not able to cope and manage their stress, okay? They may be out there, but believe you me, they've got a direct impact into our lives as men. So that then becomes another challenging situation. Now, these are some of the few reasons why we are stressed as a madoda. For that reason, then we find ourselves really, you know, messing up and feeling so overwhelmed, you know, experiencing all these challenges as men. So for that reason, we really, you know, hope this session will be in a better position to pinpoint issues and that we can be able to deal with. Okay. Now, having identified what stress is, number two, having identified what are the causes of stress, can we also now come to the effects, you know, to the consequences of stress? What are some of the consequences? What happens when we are stressed? One of the issues, we experience what is called anxiety disorders, meaning that you are always in a panic mode, okay? You are always anxious, and you can't control your emotional response. Now, in that regard, we are experiencing these anxiety disorders. So there's a disorder in your mind, and that you cannot properly deal with it. So it becomes another challenge where emotionally you are not in a better space. The issue of depression, you know, the effects of stress then leads to depression, okay? So depression, in short, is a state of helplessness where you feel you have no power. You know, you are questioning your self-worth, you're questioning yourself, you're questioning a lot of things you cannot manage. And then you feel, no, I think I don't have motivation, I'm not creative, I'm not motivated. I have been through a lot of depressive episodes in my life as well, because, of course, one of the reasons was the issue of my previous life. I was married and I got divorced. I went through some different episodes which were not really treating me well. So it could be another reason why. You know, depression, for example, can be caused by a number of issues, the one that are similar to what stress is all about. But it is a state of helplessness where you feel, no, I cannot cope. I'm just gonna sleep the whole day. I'm just gonna take drugs. I'm just gonna go through a state where I feel, I cannot do anything about them. Okay, it becomes a situation. Another effect of stress is a burnout. Burnout, you will know, Uguti, you feel exhausted. A lot of employees, a lot of teachers, because I'm dealing with a lot of educators and leaders and managers, they are so exhausted. So you find yourself in a state where you are in a burnout. Do you know what a burnout is? A burnout is a state where you feel tired in your mind. You feel you cannot take it anymore. You feel like you can sleep the whole day, the whole week. You feel like you can go to a doctor and break you off because you are mentally and physically exhausted, and emotionally you just cannot take it. So burnout, it's one of the issues that on Wednesday we are going to be talking about, because a lot of these educators and leaders in the school environment, for instance, they're experiencing a lot of burnout. So we are going to be unpacking some of those issues, and the things are not happening properly in the school situation. Okay, the issue of a heart disease, sure, you won't believe it. WHO, the World Health Organization, has identified heart cardiovascular challenges to be at the top of the reasons why people are dying every day in the world. All right. Now, when they sat down, these professionals, and they unpacked, they discovered that at the core of heart problems, heart disease, cardiovascular challenges, it's nothing else but stress. Stress when you've got a heart problem, when you've got about stroke issues, when you've got issues such as your high blood, and then these are issues which are related to stress. Because remember, the heart is pumping non-stop, and non-stop meaning it pumps even abnormally. Because when you are worried, when your mind is not at rest, you definitely are going to be affected indeed in more ways than one. Your heart then becomes not only just an organ that is pumping blood, but it becomes an organ that is heavily affected, and that affects other avenues of your bodies, such that when your heart is not in the right space, believe you me, you are going to be stressed, and the stress then becomes very severe to a point that you become depressed because your heart is just not in the right space. Another effect indeed of stress, really, gentlemen, is the issue of obesity. Okay, where one of the signs, and you know it, most regularly you want to eat and you grab anything. Okay, so overeating, once suddenly you have these cravings, and more especially izinto ongajwayelanga ukuzidla, and that ukuthi that detrimental to your health, it becomes one of those situations where indeed you are the signs that you are stressed, you are going through a lot when you start eating. But now the effects thereof becomes what? Obesity. You gain a lot of weight. Some of us have gained a lot of weight, and it's very difficult to get rid of such weight because it has been accumulating, over some time. Okay. Now, these are some of the few things really that, as far as addressing issues, if these issues are not being dealt with in all honesty, they will affect your manhood. Manhood, they will affect. Manhood can mean two things. Manhood can mean your ability to perform. It can talk to your private part as a man, then it will be affected. You definitely will be affected. I've alluded to that. But more than anything else, a manhood talks to you as a man. It talks to your state of being a man, and then now definitely you will be affected if some of these issues are not being discussed. Now, I think, having said that, before I provide solutions or what I propose to be the solutions in order for us to get our manhood, to get ourselves back together, I think then let me pause in that CPA, and because you've got a little bit of time as well, just to get a question or two from Amadoda, based on what I have already highlighted for now, before I can give some few ideas as to how then we can navigate, how you can work around the issue of stress. If you will allow me in that, CPA, suppose a for a second, and just get amadoda babuze ukuthi based on what I've highlighted, is there a burning question ekhona? But yes, there will still be a moment where we can ask questions, but interestingly then are some of the suggestions that I have. I hope amadoda baphethe ipen to say what are some of the practical things that you can do, and what are some of the things that we propose to men, what they must do in order for them to be able to deal with this stress. Okay.
No, thanks very much, Mzi. Well articulated, well cleared, and let's hear from the men. I think whilst our gentlemen are still thinking and trying to synchronize, let me just quickly narrate, or at least briefly go over what you have covered. You well articulated what stress is, and you've given us the definition there of the stress and how to actually look out of stress, following the causes of stress, particularly where you had already indicated that stress impacts physical, emotionally, and spiritually. It impacts us in those three spheres. And so it is vital that if we're talking manhood, that those three spheres also are in balanced state. And so all the courses that you would have run through in that Mzi, you spoke of finance, the impact of losing a loved one, the impact of job losses, the impact of traumatic events, the workplace situation, relationship in that, which is also something that is huge, that is a challenge. You indicated that you indicated all the causes that these particular headings are giving or would be giving situations that we can sort of make a bounce, or at least make a understanding to you. You spoke of the consequences of stress, the effects of stress, effects such as depression, where we are at the helplessness state, the burned out state where we are just exhausted, we physically and mentally, the effects of heart and cardiovascular challenges that stress can actually impart into ourselves. This talks to that physical space that we earlier talked of, the obesity, as to how to really look after ourselves in terms of what we are intaking. They say you are what you eat. And so if we are not careful, and I liked how you put it, you say you start eating things that you are not even fond of. And it's those kind of things that we should be wary of and take note as stress. And lastly, you covered again to bring it home, to say all of these things, they talk to a manhood. They talk to that three-dimensional sphere that is spiritual, emotional, and physical, in a sense that if we are not in a position to look after ourselves, we'll be really making an imbalance and finding ourselves stressed. That gentleman would have been an overview of what Mzi has already given up. Let me just check on the chat boards if there is any views, if there is any hands. I see that Nkosi has got a hand up. Nkosi?
Thank you, Leadership Sipe, and thank you to Leadership Mzi. I think what I just wanted to ask you, Coach Mzi, is I understand we've spoken about the things that causes stress, and also things that might be the signs of stress from men. But how do the women in the lives of men help the men to cope with stress, or help the men, give the men the help that they need in order to overcome this? Because in one way or the other, the stress that the man experiences will affect his family directly or indirectly. How do we go about it, making sure that the women and other people within the men's life are helping the men to be a better person and able to overcome these challenges? Thank you.
Should I answer that now, Mtatisipe?
I think go for it while we're still checking the other hands. I think go for it, Babumze.
You know, having women in our lives helps a great deal. Bob. As a matter of fact, if we were to talk to the origin or to why we have women in our lives, and we know for a fact they are helpers. Now, when a woman comes into your life, then they're supposed to be helping us in decision making, even in the way in which we are supposed to be coping with the stress. But now, when we have a woman who don't understand what we are going through as men, believe you me, it's a reason for a conflict, a lot of conflict in our families, because losisi lona ngibuya ngiyasindwa. It's so tough, it's so bad at the workplace, it's so bad with my families, but I come and expect a support system in the home, and unfortunately the lady is not there. Sure, it becomes a very difficult situation to deal with. So you are truly blessed as a man when you have a wife, when you have a partner that is able to understand the pain that you are going through, and someone that also helps you to navigate around these issues that I've just mentioned, okay? So yes, they play a major role, but for them to be able to do that, it is when we say as men, I'm not strong, I'm not coping, I need you to help me, I need you to assist me, I need you to be able to cope, because often the case as men, we appear to be strong, we appear to be this species, we are born this species of people where we really are finding it difficult for us to even express how we feel. Mangifika ngibuya emsebenzini and being tired, being ridiculed, for example, Espanol, or where my business is not working, I don't expect a pressure from Endley. I seriously don't expect a woman that will say to me, because if that business deal had turned out differently, then she will be happy. Okay, now I don't expect that kind of a woman in my life to say those things, especially when I'm down and out and I'm searching and I'm going through a lot of stress. I don't expect that. I'm expecting a woman that will say, Yazi, stand Sam, sharp. You may be down right now, but you've got me. We are a team. We are in this together. That's a kind of a response that we're expecting. I wish ladies were listening to this one to say, hey, the best gift you can give to your man, it is when they are down, then you are there for them, okay? But even now, my daughter, they must also learn an art of communicating their feelings to their women, so that when she asks, how are you coping? How are you managing? Then you can be able to say, no, I'm not coping. My love, I need you. I need your support. I need, your prayers. All right. I need your embrace at this point in time. But my daughter, and you feel you can do it all by yourself. Sometimes we're finding it difficult for our women to help us, because we appear to be mature, we appear to have everything under control, which may not always be the case, okay? So let us learn then the art of communicating, which is one of the things that I'm going to quickly suggest before we knock off. And as good, I'm answering you, Babu Nkosi.
Yes, thank you.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Great stuff, great stuff. I like it. I think that, and I don't want to preamble or predict the outcome of the solutions that you'll be coming in with, and that Mngoma, but indeed, communication needs to be clear and open, and demystify the notion that because we are men, we need to be humble and to hold things in, because that already on itself is the cause also of stress or worse. So this whole stereotype that indoda ikhali, you should just hold things in when you are actually killing yourself. The reason why God created a partner for you is to be in a relationship such that you can jointly address all these challenges, where you springboard your opinion such that at least somebody who's really, really close to you can critique you if they find that those opinions are not of good value. So I'm trying to talk to that aspect of this. You need to hold it in. And we need to demystify that kind of stereotype, because it has since we have seen we've seen how vile that outcome of it can be to men. Let me just check if there's any gentleman. Do you want me to call you by names? Mr. Machi, I see, sir, you've got your hand up, sir. Let's hear from you, Mr. Machi.
Thank you very much. And I'm actually just gonna keep the video off because I've been lying in bed since morning. So I only woke up because Mzi said, "Hey, kunembizo." So that's why I had to attend to it.
Thank you, Mr. T. Thanks, good.
It's one of the things that you actually mentioned, saying that men are struggling with, was the financial part of it.
Yeah.
And most of which, to be honest with you, what I've noticed in many guys that we've engaged with is that they talk, but the problem is that there are no solutions at that moment in time. I'm going to give an example. When one man says, guys, Owamanje, I'm going to lose my house. I've had financial challenges. I tried to fix here and there, Zama, Aguzamegi, and I'm at a point where after trying family, friends, and everything, it's just not working. And I'm at a point where I'm at the end of myself. So what I've realized is that these men need someone who can say, Pegandota, I've got 10 grand now, can it help? Pegandota. So most of the time, our brothers need tangible solutions more than the theory or just the word of encouragement. Because at that time, Babumzi, if I say, have got nothing to eat now, and you say, no, let's pray, man, you are not helping at all. So many men want to say, okay, Pega, I've got the 10 rand for it. Let me buy you bread. Let me send it to you so you can have that bread. And sometimes it's not easy to find people who can do that, especially if those that are close to you, you've actually explained and expressed, they know your situation. And at the end of the day, they can't help. And not because they don't want to. Sometimes others don't want to, but others just don't have the means to do that. So the only thing they can do is just to give you a word of encouragement. Perhaps if there was that kind of solutions, tangible solutions for our men who are maybe struggling financially. Because when it comes to relationships, Mzi, believe you me, it's easier to help, because we can give information, we can give help, we can give suggestions. But those that need tangible help, perhaps there should be channels where they can be directed to say, no, man, we can help in this case. What can I do? I'm not sure if I'm making sense in that regard.
Yeah. Wow. But Thabo, you are making sense, Budwam. Absolutely. Kungaba njani? Especially on the issue of finances, Ngamadoda sends us something. I mean, guys, we meet every time. But you won't believe it. One of the discussions that we don't have is Amachita, see when's what is stopping me to go on Ntatesipe and say, Ntatesipe, but how do you make money? How do you succeed in business? Yes, ego yetu yasihlupa, such that when you are experiencing pain, when things are not going well, kunzima ukuthi ungaya kwenye indoda ubuze. Mina uThabo uyazi ngiyamhlupha. The gentleman that has just spoken, Mr. Machi, ngiyakwazi ukuthatha phone call and say, I'm advise, how do I navigate around this particular issue? So masivulele, including the issue of finance that he has alluded to say, what's stopping you from going to Mr. Nkosi and say, Mr. Nkosi, your things man ngiyabona, but ungathi zine order, and ngiyabona man ukuthi umnotho ukhona. And how do you do that? Can you just swallow our pride as men and also go to another man and say, daughter, please, isn't us hambi, but I'm phoning you babysitter, but I want you to give me some ways in which I can navigate. Now, the practicality of what you are saying, Tabomachi, is exactly that, where we are admitting also that I'm isn't us hambi the way when I'm born is and also when uma uza kumzi or uma kuisipe or kusipo, Osipo must also be able to say, hi, man, this is how I do it. This is how I do my proposal. This is how I do things. And then he sees. And also attending to my workshop. I mean, Tabo, Machi, you are organizing a lot of workshops, breakfast sessions that you are having, and you do invite Amatot and say, Amatot, was answers about these issues. So in us talking about these issues, the issue of money, for instance, let it be one of those issues that we can talk about and say, Buffett, siyenza kanjani imali. In so doing, then it's part of what I'm going to be suggesting. I've got 5 points that I quickly want to suggest as a way of us being able to manage the issue of this stress. That I normally will give that quickly issue stress. So is there any other pending question?
Yeah, I think on the chat box, Pastor Sabata Mzimela says,
Yes,
how do you find a person who can be a confidant who will not judge me about my situation when I'm in that kind of stressed situation? How do you find a confidant? That is the question from Pastor Sabata Mzimela. How do you find a person that is that you can say is a confidant to really unleash all that we earlier said you must talk to someone? I think it's going to that direction where we're saying you must talk to someone. So in his case, he says, so how do you identify that confidant, that person that you can say, yeah, I trust that if I'm going to unleash and put it on the table to this particular person, and let them be the person that would be in a position then to help me, alleviate the stress.
The reason why Fundiswami, I'll be using, I'll be quoting from a Bible. The Bible, let us not forsake the habit of meeting together. Because in meeting together, according to the book of Hebrews 11:25, we find, in fact, it's 10:25, I think it's 10:25. The purpose of fellowship, one of the reasons is that according to what the Bible has prescribed, it is us talking to someone. It is us fellowshipping, meaning it is us sharing ideas. It is us, being honest about our feelings to each other, to our brothers, okay, especially in us as Amadoda. We've got SALGC today. SALGC is a platform where Bontate, Sipe, and the rest of the team are saying, guys, let us talk about these issues. Now, identifying a person, you can't identify someone that has what you are looking for when you are in isolation. In fact, this call that we are having today, believe you me, we should be having about 300, 400, 500 men that are logging on at this particular time so that they can be able to learn the nuggets on how they can navigate around the issue of stress and many other issues, especially as it happens you know, for these 2 hours, just 2 hours of sacrifice, where you are saying, as a man, let me connect with other men. But it is when, Mfundisi wami, you say to yourself, I don't know much. As a man, I need information, I need guidance. It so happens that, especially as leaders in churches or in our organizations, there's a moment where we feel kunzima ukuthi I can reach out to somebody else. Because remember, Mzi is a coach. Mzi, therefore, is coaching abantu on a daily basis as to how they can manage their issues of life. But this is what Thabo Machi said to me during the week as I was engaging with him. He said, yes, Mzi, as a coach, I need you. And then I'm as a coach, as much as I need you, but you also need me. So we need each other. So let us create a platform where we connect with each other such that when I experience pain, then I may be able to communicate that pain. And my cycle, there is, of course, you cannot reach out to everyone. There is someone that is really closest to me, closest in the sense that, this guy in particular has got particular values that I embrace, and there's got a particular values, the way they're doing things, I admire so much. So I can make this person to be a confidant. Mina kulula kimi to phone Thabo Machi and say, Ndoda, hi man, please assist me. Akungibonise baba, ngicela 2 minutes esikhathi sakho. And Thabo, when I will phone him, for instance, and he's not available, mhlawumbe uyaspana or usemeeting umfundisi wami, he will do what he will do. He will call me back and say, Mngoma, ngibone i-miss call yakho, please let's talk. What's up? Yabon. Then I will say, hi man, daughter man, there was this particular issue that I needed a guidance over. Yabon, so help me to navigate. So it is a person, Baba, that you feel connected to, whether it is spiritually, okay, or emotionally. It is the person that you feel comfortable that you can lay out. The Bible says you must become our brother's keeper. So it is a person that you can say, I'm an in all honesty, man, they speak the language that I understand. And this is a person, not everyone, but even women that really you just cannot go to. And now go to that someone that you feel good to. You are connecting at many different levels. Support their cause as much as they are also going to support. We need each other. As abefundisi, there is khona omunye umfundisi, I wouldn't mention igama lakhe, yazi uthini umfundisi, he's very great, he's a successful umfundisi as in terms of his ministry, but he's also successful in business. Guess what he said? Mzi, for the past 30 years, mina, in my marriage, I've had different challenges, but mina nginamajitamu engikhule nawo. Believe me, when I connect nalabo bantu laba together with their wives, my wife and I, we've got on a monthly basis a fellowship, a moment, a gathering that we have, where at that particular time, the title yobufundisi ngiyayithatha ngilahlela le, yabo, where the title yokuba this businessman ngilahlela le, I become out, I become ijita, then we talk. And among better, so we need as men to create, identify, there is a man, there are 2, there are 3, there are 5 of men that you can identify and say, in all honesty, I can talk to. You just cannot be alone, and be isolated. Don't isolate yourself. Kunabanye abefundisi who don't want their members to go and visit other members. There are abanye abafundisi who cannot connect with other pastors. Connect just because ufuna ukuthi abe invited ukuthi ayokhuluma in their church. Sometimes you just need just to go and fellowship. Thabo Machi make organize something yamadoda, you attend that session, and in so doing connect with other men. That's what I do. What keeps me alive, it is because I connect with men, and I know that there's 1 or 2 men that will resonate with me, and in doing so, then I'm able then to reach out to them whenever I will need. So my daughter, hlala uhlomile, nabo bosipe bakhona, nabo siphonkose bakhona. Yabon, Nababa Tsepis and many other men that you can be able to reach out to and say, hey, Bafetu, Kushubi, don't keep quiet. But I think I'm getting now into what I want to suggest to be the solution now. But I'm saying a hint to that part. Some fundis, it is important. Yabon, we don't know everything. Go and it may not sometimes be the person that you are at the same level now. Yabon, in terms of you umfundisi, therefore umfundisi ungahlangana out and then talk, but you know you've got a lot of things in common, and as such this is the person I think I'm feel confident ukuthi ngakwazi ukuthi ngikhulume naye umfundisi wami. Angazi ngiyaphenduleka.
Yeah, on his behalf, I think Mzi, you hit the right notes there. You really have covered it. Let me quickly, before you come to the solutions, read a chat box from Tate Sekhale, one of ourselves, SALGC. He says, we are troubled, I agree. Men are troubled, I agree. And perhaps let me say we are troubled, counting myself in. We also have to agree that we have a role in the amount of stress and depression that we find ourselves in. I feel like we prioritize most things that don't benefit us. We only seek help when in trouble, but when we are well, we ignore to equip ourselves for rainy days. We focus more in what we call entertainment, refreshments, than building ourselves. So I have to agree. Platforms like SALGC are not being attended by men to hear of such a message. And I think that is what the Tiskal is trying to talk to over what you said, Babumzi, when you said we should have gotten an overwhelming number of people, men, that should be listening to this, because the platforms such as this, where we've got the likes of you who are equipped in giving us these kind of guides, it shouldn't go to the 20 of us in this forum. We wanted to have as much men as possible, but it comes back to that aspect that you touched, that ego. And it's something that we're going to have to accept. It is something that we're going to accept, that for ourselves as men to be given a heads up on the roles that we can be equipped to, up until such time as we let go of ego. We are not going to go anywhere. So I think that this is just touching on that aspect to say, you really are talking really good stuff. So let me give you the moment then to cover those 5, if not situations that you said you would bring as solutions, and then we wrap up the event as such. Over to you, sir.
I thank you so much, Dr. CP. It's a sacrifice that we need to make, in all honesty. We don't have resources, but just to sit in an hour. I was so amazed yesterday, just as before in figure to this point, I was just amazed, Kubaba Mzimela, also on your question, Babuguti, yes, to have friends, Kubamnand, and to have people that you can talk to. To know, Guti, there's a man who came to our event, Izolo. They had a party, Yomtwana. The birthday was for Abantwana, Ubaba Umaumela. And because he values the friendship that he has, Mzi Mngoma. Mzi was launching his book, Enough is Enough, but guess what? That family, the wife and the husband, they sacrificed and they came to our event. Now, this is what will happen every time whenever I think of that couple or of that man. I will say, wow, I will never forget the sacrifice I did to attend my event. And in his busy schedule, chances are I will want to replicate. So it's one of the things. We can't expect our daughter to come to us, yet we don't reach out to them as well. So it's going to be very difficult. Why can't you be in the for instance? So it's one of the things as So this man said, one thing that I also learned from this man, Oti, seek first to understand than to be understood. is one of the signs on this powerful book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. About sharpening the saw, meaning and share and break the habit of meeting together, because part of the meeting together is what is the fellowship, is knowing each other, is knowing how we think, is sharing the ideas with other men. Masingayeki leyo nto. Let's continue. Nathi masinamadoda, masinama-events nezinto zethu, let us make a lot of noise. 1 or 2 of the men, masifane nabomama. Abomama, they don't keep quiet. They've got a lot of this fellowship. Nini, basadi kadituku, ning ning, basadi kadikiba, ning ning, women in heels. they don't scratch their head in terms of coming up with innovative ideas that will bring them together. And when you go into their fellowships, it is sold out. But it's something else. Anyway, so I was just adding on what that is. Banna kaditai sihlangane nje sifaka inyama akunankinga sitshela nje ukuthi sifaka ama-50 rand sizowafaka. Uma indoda ungenayo 50 rand, indicate and say yazini nje bafethu ngifuna ukuyijoyina lento le yenu ngiyabatlalela boSipay nikuphi sihlanganela kuphi wozani yabona hayi bafethu anginamali hayi don't worry woza ndoda ungakhathazeki. Yabona, so masiyenzeni kanjalo madoda, masihlangane makube khona inyama, makube khona nephalishi, even nenyama yenhloko siyithenge, nesikopho sihlale namanqina. Ma ungenayo imali khuluma, hey bafethu ngishayekile mina ngekho right, but I really want to come to your fellowship and sizoxoxa nje. Sometimes you don't sifaka ama-short wethu, uyabona, and just sit and chill and say relax singamajita, uyabona, because there's power in fellowship, there's power in connecting with other minds. You will be so shocked. Yabona, mina I went to a fellowship. I'll just make an example. Sahlala singamadoda. I went to Tembisa. I drove to Tembisa. Ngahlala namadoda. You won't believe it. In me talking to lamadoda lana, I discovered with lamadoda they were loving what I was saying to them as far as stress is concerned. Bangibiza bathi, hey Mzi, there is a fellowship that is happening there. Kunamadoda ekumele sikhulume nawo ejele. Hayibo, bheka. Now, woza nawo uzoba yiphathi. Sikuzwile ndoda, uye walahlela okuncane but siyithandile lento. Come and be one of our speakers as isikhuluma. So, if you isolate yourself, ucabanga ukuthi wena you've got the solution indoda, uzosikhawada, uzosilimaza kakhulu. So please, fellowship and be a part of what other men are doing out there, okay? And in doing so, please, kuzoba mnandi. Right, let me say these 5 things, then bese ngiyayehla inkundla again. One of the things that I propose, it is this. And when people come to our consultation sessions, whether in person, whether online, I propose these things for this reason, that the opposite of stress, according to Mzi, when you are not in a stressful situation, it means you are in a peaceful situation. Now, the opposite of stress is what? According to Mzi, it is peace. So if you are not stressed, it means you are in peace, you are in a peaceful situation. Now, Mzi therefore says, my proposal to dealing with the stress, there are many, but Mzi yanakhuluma nje ngezinto ezi-5 ze-peace. Peace now talks to what? To PEACE. Can I just suggest that? Why? You will see. Uguti, as I talk to you about the peace, you will discover, Uguti, this peace that I'm proposing that you need to have, which is an antidote, which is the opposite of stress, is oxisa, and you will know, Uguti, you will soon discover, Uguti, this peace covers every aspect, okay, every aspect of your life, your spiritual, your social, and so forth. Now, let me just get into it. So if you've got something also about, please, peace, PEACE. The first thing that you need to do for you to find peace, which is the opposite of stress, is what? Is to pray. Peace stands for prayer. Njengendoda ngizocela, please, can I just propose ukuthi sithandaze.
Coach Mngoma, you've muted yourself, sir. It was just for a short break, yeah.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you now. Now you're good. You just
sorry,
muted yourself. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Baba. Yeah. So now, if prayer is the first thing, amen, prayer works, my daughter. Whenever you're experiencing, you're going through a particular pain in your life, as a matter of fact, uJesu uthi wozani kimi, come to me all, uthi come to me, all of you who are what? Who are heavy laden, wozani kimi nina madoda enisindwayo enenikhathele. Now, there is something heavy on you and you are tired. Now, that in itself, that call by Jesus, uthi wozani kimi nina enikhathele nenisindwayo. Umuntu okhathele nomuntu osindwayo, umuntu onjani? Umuntu ostress. Istress yini, as a matter of fact? Umthwalo owuthwele. It's a pressure that you are feeling. It is this heavy load that you are carrying. But guess what God is saying? Uthi woza nomthwalo wakho kimi. I will do what? I will give you rest. Guess what? What you need when you are stressed is what? Is rest. You need to rest. Okay? Now, that rest, we get it from God. We can't get it anywhere else. I cannot prescribe anything, okay, other than the fact that as a man, you need to pray. You need to contact and consult with your Creator. You might not have spoken to Mzi as a stress coach, okay? Because Mzi uzokcharge imali for you to have a consultation, Mzi. But at the starting point, then you can connect with your father, with your dad, and say, Nkulunkulu ngiyahluleka, Nkulunkulu ngiyaflopa, Nkulunkulu business arm is not sharp, Nkulunkulu esipaneni izinto ziyabheda, Nkulunkulu esontweni izinto azihambi kahle. These members are leaving my church, are going next door. What must I do? Help me. She's messing me up. So prayer then becomes that communication channel that you need to create, that we need to create as a daughter. And it's very critical. In fact, when you do our coaching sessions, we show you how you can be able to do that. We show you how it is important for you to be able to do that. That's why I want to attend our coaching sessions, because as a daughter, say I prescribe today to say, please start with prayer. And we show you how you can make this a lifestyle. We need that as a first point. Now, ukumbule, prayer then talks to what? It talks to your spiritual aspect. Okay, that is one of the first. It's on top of the list, it is prayer. P for P stands for prayer. Number two, it's what? It's exercise. Exercise talks to your physical. Hey, bagiti ibalekile. Remember, when we are stressed, we eat a lot. And as we eat a lot, we gain. But the exercise doesn't mean that you have to go to a gym. You just have to take a walk. Sometimes you touch him and just take a walk. Yes, with my wife, we've got what is called a love walk. We need to stand like tomorrow. We wake up in the morning, we just take around the block, around our area, we just walk. And as we walk, we talk. Okay. As we talk, then things begin to come up. Ideas are coming up. Every time when I have this love walk with my wife, it's so beautiful. It's so fulfilling. Now I charter one as a man. If there's not anyone closer to you, but I always and say, I must start a new habit. Extend, we do it in the morning, around 6 o'clock or even before 6. We just walk around, and just take a walk. Isn't the 6 o'clock? In fact, we even have a sport set where we sit down in that sport and we talk issues. Where there's something troubling here, something troubling me, we talk. So a love walk is part of the exercise that we can do, because physically, exercises. Okay, so it's very important when we're dealing with the stress. If physical or the health is very key to us. And believe me, after an hour, wow, sibuya si sharp, sibuya si great, uyazizwa nokuthi yes, I'm coping. Exercise helps. And the good baba exercise ayamachita or baba balalele this call, they know the importance. and the value of what an exercise can do. It does wonders. Besides losing weight, like some of us have developed carbon, but now when we do the exercise and be consistent about it, is a physical. Okay, that is the second solution that I want to propose, and it's very practical. You can do it yourself. Number 3, in the way acceptance. Now, Mzi, what are you talking about? Madoda ngicela sivume ukuthi nathi we mess up sometimes. Let us accept that we are wrong. Let us accept what we don't know everything. Acceptance says, let us admit our mistakes. Let us make sure where we are messing up. Let us rectify some of the things. I mean, there's no way that slogos kuzelu into one every time. Some of the stresses that we have as men, we are causing them ourselves. I mean, I have a wife. I have children that I'm supposed to take care of. I've got a wife that I'm supposed to love, and the only one. She must be the only person that I love. Okay. Now, when we in daughter, we have flop. You still see other women. Okay. This woman loves you. And now suddenly now you are not content, you are not at peace, you are causing problems in your relationship because you've got these external affairs. Let us stop messing up because we are messing up with these people. We are sacrificing and she's giving herself over to you to say you are the king of this castle when we are messing up. So let us also do what? Accept as well the fact that not we are in the wrong. Let us accept our faults. Let us accept and change from those things and change from these sins. And not have any other side to what is economy side. So let us also accept that tonight we are the cause. In the for example, if it means to drive a motor for 10 years, up until such time that you are able to raise enough money to be able to afford them or to do that. Among mistakes, financial problems are as a result of us not being able to control ourselves. Isikhwama sami nesaka CPA nesaka Maji nesakwankosi asifani bafethu. Let's stop comparing ourselves with other men. Let's stop doing that. Now let us accept that our judgment is wrong. Okay, just because ubani driver this, therefore nami ngiyayifuna. Just because ubani uhlala kuphi, therefore, then we're putting ourselves under pressure and we are stressing ourselves. Must admit now when it comes to finance, there are moments that we really mess up. Okay, another after accepting, C then stands for communication. Believe me, from the start of this conversation, which is ending now, I've been talking communication. Bafethu, it's healthy to talk. The issue is, but if you listen to the conversation that men are having, they're not talking about these real issues. I mean, kunamadoda spend 3-4 hours bekhuluma ngebhola, Chiefs and Pirates, or Sundowns, or in Russia and in Ukraine. How is that then translate into making me a better man? The issue is not to talk. Believe me, amadoda, they do talk, but they talk rubbish. Into that are counterproductive. They are talking they're talking about these women, these chicks. And you listen to the conversation and say, oh my goodness, I don't want to be a part of this conversation. So in our communications, positive. When we sit and talk, we are about, sure, let us talk about great things that are really happening, that are supposed to be making our lives to be better. So those are the things that indeed will be able to help us to become better men. Let us communicate positively. Let us create an environment where we talk to our women. You are married to this woman. Talk to her. She's your wife. She loves you. Talk, express yourself, express how you feel. Ongazenzi is strong. Okay. Now, the communication then talks to that. Talk to someone when you are experiencing pain. Please take a phone and I will keep in mind and go and seek help. talk. As stress coaches, there's a small fee that we are charging for our time because we are professionals, where you can give a call and say to me, I really need a word with you. Masikhulume ndoda for an hour, imali ngitshela ukuthi no man sinikeze nje just esincanyana, but then I can give you my time, my attention. Okay, and let us talk about what is troubling you. And you may discover ukuthi hayi man, that investment engiyenzile nje kahle kahle. Yabo. If right now, pubs, people are spending 4,000 or 5,000 rand just for 2 nights, just for 2 hours. They're spending a lot of money, but when it comes to their wellness and their well-being, people are not willing to invest their time. In all honesty, what Mzi is charging is nothing compared to what you would have spent when you were to be stressed and deal with that stress. Yeah, but put an investment, Mzi, or other persons for that matter, and talk to them and say, hey, Bafet, I'm going through this. And because they are professional, therefore, they need to be compensated. But you need to talk to someone who's professional, who's a coach, so that I was to make you to navigate. You'll be so short. An hour can save so much for you and can save your life, can save your family life, and it can make you stress. And finally, then Machita, let us expose ourselves. E stands for exposure. Now, exposure talks to what? Talks to who is in your cycle. Who are you exposing yourself to? All right, what kind of a feedback? Do you know what the company you keep is the company that will make you? Do you know that? So the type of man that you spend your time with is the type of man who will say, Mina umfazi ngiyamshaya. Mina, I don't have time. I don't have the time to spend and expose myself to a type of man who will say, Mina umfazi ngiyamshaya. All right. But as much as I can, I want to expose myself, exposing my life, exposing my mind into the type of man that will build me up to make me a better person. SALGC can be one of those, powerful organizations that I can expose myself to. So it is very important for my peace of mind. Believe you me, we don't need them in our lives. Some of our friends, some of our family members, we don't need them. It's better to keep them at an arm's length so that I can have peace. Or it's going to mess you up and stress you. In doing so, can I just propose? But now, during our coaching session and in this book that I've written here, Enough is Enough, okay, I'm able then to come to a level where I've given you some even more than what I've just given you. So in doing so, that is pay together with your great team, for this platform that you have created for me as well, just to share a little bit of what I know about stress and how then, if it is properly managed, it can save our manhood. In doing so, I just want to say thank you so much. God bless you.
Wow. Thank you ever so much, Mzi. Thank you, sir, for your kindness. Thank you for this enlightenment. We've taken quite a lot. And I'm hoping that in speaking on behalf of everyone who was listening here, that we will indeed be better coming out of this session than when we came in with nothing inside. Thank you ever so much, Ndate. And I see my IT controller is telling me that it's 3 minutes to go. Thank you also. Let me also convey our gratitude and appreciations to all those who joined us and really sacrificed their time over this Saturday, Sunday to be with us in this platform. We thank you ever so much. Please do go to Mzi's website, www.stresscoach.co.za, to get more information, and please also support him in his book or books. I have already got one that he signed for me when I was privileged to meet him. So the next one is this one that he's proposing now. and please do support him. We need to really support each other as a community. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. It is 6 o'clock. We really requested that you be with us for 2 hours. It is that 2 hours end now, and would like to thank you and to really say, God bless to yourself and have a blessed week ahead of you, and do take care of yourself wherever you are. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Mzi. Thank you, sir.